And I know you guys are similar, probably one's bigger than mine. Don't make fun of me.
You got a weird sense of humor, huh? And I'm like, oh, I just gave you a taste.
Joining all the old men clubs.
What are we smoking here, boys? And they're like, ah, I'm like, oh shit, there's some cool people in this group. I'm so excited.
You got to do some sketchy stuff to get that old man money.
Yeah, and I was waiting for a goat to come in, like be sacrificed. You know, probably would have brought me back in, but I never saw it. Like, you take away my Xbox, I'm gonna take away your Honda Odyssey, bitch. That's what's happening.
I'm not a normal human. I usually have softer stools. I mean, I eat chili dogs on the norm. Usually wiping is like spreading peanut butter on a cat's back for me.
Hit any of the three of us up. We can make so many better wiener jokes.
And there is this beautiful, to what I believe, a female at birth, Latina woman, I hope. I'm gonna go kill this cricket real quick.
In the realm of beard loss, a trio strong and true. Yuban, Brandon, and beard loss with tales both old and new. Their whiskers like a forest, their knowledge like a stream, guiding us through beardom and culinary dream. Beard loss, the sage of facial grace, with whiskers flowing, setting the pace. Yuban, the jester in clouds of green, laughs and wisdom and sight unseen. Brandon J McDermott, food daddy supreme, a feast of facts, a culinary dream.
Back at it. See, that's how you do it. You don't have to go, if you're wondering what we're talking about, the SWFFL, check it out. It's got this thing. We have 11 subscribers. But either way, shout out Deluxe Edition Network, podcast of the month. We got the Metalhead Journey, awesome show. If you're into, metal, and you have a head that has a brain, you should check it out. DeluxeEditionNetwork.com, and also the MILF and Me. Yuban, he loves the MILF and Me, and allegedly Brandon. There's a lot of mom jokes in here, and maybe even some GILF jokes every once in a while, but check them out, DeluxeEditionNetwork.com, and our friends at the Beyond the Box podcast. It's something that's local to me, and it's a pretty serious one. They do a good job, so make sure you check them out as well if you want. And it's flannel season, bitches. I feel like that's what all the whites, the old white, not the old whites, the young whites, that's what they all say. And it's flannel season. And I got myself a sweet flannel from the Musk Ox Company. I don't know if you guys saw it. I did a little thing. You guys can go to gomuscox.com. And if you use code BEARDLAWS, you save $20. Not 20%, $20. I went with one that was like a brick one. I was going to wear it today, but I wore it last night and it stinks like bonfire and smoke. So I got to throw that bad boy in there. Maybe a couple Genesees were spilled on that thing, but
man, I feel like flannel season for you comes a little earlier than the other two of us here.
It was 38 when I woke up this morning. I was picking up empties and just expecting them to be a little bit frozen in there, but somehow there hasn't been a frost. So all of the people, we are a legal state, that are growing all of their outdoor products and vegetables we'll go with, and maybe some lettuce that the devil enjoys. They're still good.
That's what I'm talking about. That's the diet I'm all about.
It is good. So, so obviously we were talking a little bit before, and we were kind of talking about, and this could be relatable to a lot of people, how car seats are a big scam. And know what else is a big scam? And I know you guys know this, and Brandon, you're going to be finding this out probably quicker. Maybe it's just up here, but school pictures is one of the biggest going scams in the goddamn planet. I mean, we get the base package, right? So you get a couple pictures and this and that, but you can't pick your background. If you wanted to pick your background, it goes from up here. Maybe it's cheap here. Maybe it's more expensive. I think it was $26.99 for the base package. That's like just a couple of pictures and a digital copy. You want to go to the one where you pick the background, $41.99. You get one picture and one digital. Like, come on, you. And then you can add on a touch face up and the phone. But it's everybody's got to sit there, and then it turns into the, well, you didn't buy your kids' pictures. You didn't hang it on the wall. Yeah, it's like, fuck you.
I've got and I know you guys are similar, probably one's bigger than mine. Don't make fun of me. I've got a hard drive here with probably 3,000 pictures of my two children. Don't need to ever pay for that kind of stuff. My wife sends me pictures every day. I download them, upload them to the Dropbox, and then from the Dropbox, I save them onto there, and good to go. It's not 1992 anymore. Like you can take pictures of your own children in a well-lit area against a wall. Smile. I said smile, you little shit. And take a picture.
Move your head. Put your hand on your chin.
Right.
Yeah, and most of them come out shitty anyways. You know what I mean? Then you have to pay to have the redone day.
And they get you with the sports as well. They're like, don't forget, if you're in softball or basketball, whatever, you have to come and take your team pictures as well. So here's another $24.99. I'm like, you scammers.
Mhm.
Can't
Like,
stand it.
you're scamming kids more or less because you're putting them in there. But I guess it's different for sports because where my daughter goes to school, somebody comes in and does them. And then I think, yeah, you can buy certain packages or they just say, hey, here's the digital, do whatever. But
You know what's a scam for me too? What I figured out was a scam was when I graduated college, the cap and gown bullshit. I didn't even get I graduated during the pandemic, so I didn't get a walk. I still purchased before everything happened, so I still purchased it. I put that fucking cap and gown on and I walked around. I took it to work. We took pictures and everything. I was like, no, this is going to be my day. I spent a lot of time and energy on this. We're doing it. Similar class rings. That's all bullshit too.
Mhm.
Yes.
Yep.
No, I will say the nostalgia of just seeing like your kids would be like, hey, this was my class ring or whatever. And they're like, oh, it's kind of crazy how it was back in the day, or what's this? Why was this? I can see that point of it, but I'm also a hoarder. So I feel like my
you have one?
valid. Yeah, I have 100%.
But when's the last time you wore it?
Oh, so it definitely sits in a box of keepsakes for sure. Yeah.
You're not bringing it out on a Friday night to the football game like one of those old weird dads
with your Letterman.
No, and I wasn't one of those guys that were, like 5 years out of high school, still wearing the Letterman's jacket, wearing the ring too. But we went 4-4 with this thing. Just like, who cares?
You know what's funny is I remember my senior year, there were a couple kids who had graduated or who had graduated, who didn't graduate, but actually just kind of left school and would come and show back up a couple years later. And some of the teachers were like, go get a fucking life, man. Like, what are you doing here? I haven't set foot in that school in 20 years. I haven't since I graduated. I was like, yeah, you're never going to see me again. I don't want to be in this place again. Not because I had a bad experience, but I wasn't going to be that weird guy that showed back up to school after graduating.
Yeah.
Still going to proms, still throwing parties for the high school kids. There's a couple of those in every small and big town. And it's weird. If you're watching or listening to this and you were that person, I'm judging you. You're the only person that's getting judged. And then if you're still having high school parties, you're going to be in jail.
Especially if you're like sitting on the hood of the car and be like, see you after homecoming dance. Like, what? Get to know. If they're not going to let you in, don't hang out outside. Unless you're a parent picking up your kid. No.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the thing.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was I unfortunately I still have to see the school that I graduated from 5 times a week because my kids go there, and it's a K through 12 school. So it's super small. So I'm going to be seeing that place for the next at least 20 years.
Or you're the weird guy that is the prom date for like the sophomore or junior girl, and you're like graduated 2 or 3 years ago.
Yeah,
you're legal to drink.
Yeah.
Just don't go. Just don't go, bud. I mean, that's my advice. But I also went to a K through 12 school, and then after I graduated, I coached for a while, and then I stopped coaching there, and then I started coaching in the rival school, and then that ended up being where my daughter is. So and now I'm coaching youth sports at the said school. So yeah, this can't get away from the guide. But going into the school just for basketball practices now, so which starts this week. Yeah,
I'm a PTO scholarship committee. You name it. I'm in that damn school way more than I would like to be. And for some reason, they enjoy me, but they got to see a little bit of my sense of humor in this scholarship meeting. I was joking around and stuff, and they're kind of like, you haven't changed much. And some people didn't know me from high school, and they're like, you got a weird sense of humor, huh? And I'm like, oh, I just gave you a taste. Like, this shit gets way worse. So I'm like trying to dial it down and get a not talk. And I was like, so Brandon, what do you think? And I'm like, it's good. It's good. I'm not going to say anything. Yeah, it's good.
Wait till they bust out your TikTok during one of these meetings.
One of them knows. And so they and they go, Yuban. I'm like, shut your mouth. Shut your mouth. We do not need to entertain this thought ever in this library where we're having these meetings. Please and thank you.
Yeah, that'd be an interesting one. But what are they going to do? I mean, you're going to get booted off the PTO?
I kind of hope they do find it at this point. They've been signing me up for a lot of shit that I'm just not excited about.
Good for you. I think Zach recently signed up. He sent a Snapchat that he signed up to the PTO, and that's for me. That's another going scam. I know sometimes they do some good things, but man, they want a lot of goddamn money all year.
Yeah,
I got things a little backwards. I didn't have kids until my mid 30s, and So I joined a new town, and I just joined the local Kiwanis club, and then also I'm 1 week away. They have to do like a 3-week, like, see if you want me to be there. Any objections for 3 weeks for the Rotary? So I'm joining all the old men clubs
Hell yeah.
before I get to go through PTA and stuff like that.
That's my work makes me sign up for like these civic clubs, and
Yeah.
so like I'm members of like the Chamber of Commerces that are around these 2 different towns and stuff. So they wanted us to join the Kiwanis or the Rotary clubs and everything, and I'm like, so luckily there is a young entrepreneurs club that likes to do cigars and stuff, and they just sit around and just smoke cigars and try this. I'm like, that's the club. That's the
That's the
civic
one.
group I'm going to be in. All right.
Yep.
When I
That's-
even asked them too when they were smoking, I was like, what are we smoking here, boys? And they're like, I'm like, oh shit, there's some cool people in this group. I'm so excited.
You don't find that in Rotary.
Right, I know. Well, and I did go to one Rotary meeting as well, and I saw like everybody was at least 70, and I'm like, oh. And immediately before we even sat down, they're like, politics. Well, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm sick. I'm gonna get the fuck out of here. I no longer feel good.
And you
I'm
just went there to see which one was rich and probably on her way out, so you could try to slide in there and get that.
It was all
that
old
money.
dudes. It was actually, there was not a single female in this entire group, unfortunately, where I'm from. So I was kind of like, I can't even, not even an old like Ethel to look at. I'm out.
That's a red flag. Hard
Mhm.
red flag. Because you got to do some sketchy stuff to get that old man money.
Yeah, and I was waiting for a goat to come in, like be sacrificed. You know,
Mhm.
probably would have brought me back in, but I never saw it.
Oh shit! So I don't know. I saw this article and I was going to do a weird segue. Maybe it's way too late, and I'm not the king of segues. But we were talking about the child seats and how it's a big money scam and stuff like that. And you know, you got to buy this. And there was an article that I saw from FlorDUH. There was 2 kids that were stopped driving a vehicle. They were 10 and 11, and they were 200 miles away from home. A 10-year-old Florida boy and his 11-year-old sister were running away to California, and they drove 200 miles. And for the Canadian viewers, that's around 315, 320 kilometers. And they were in their mom's car, and then they finally got stopped by a sheriff deputy, and they were on an interstate.
So
Yeah, dude.
they just proved that they can drive better than half of the state of Florida because they made it 200 miles, you know, without hitting anything. And that's impressive for the state of Florida.
They got them at 4 a.m. in Gainesville, which is like North Florida. Not exactly, well, obviously 200 miles. So, but they were missing for 4 hours, just cruising down the road. 10-year-old just driving a car, wanting to get away from mom. That's rough.
That is, I mean, what was the vehicle?
It was
Great gas mileage and everything else.
It just said spotted the sedan. So this one didn't have yeah. But apparently the vehicle was reported stolen or whatever, because I guess the vehicle was missing and the kids were missing. Apparently the mom didn't put 2 and 2 together. So when the deputies stopped the vehicle, they actually came up with their guns drawn and then ordered those inside the car to step out. And then as they stepped out, it was a 10 and 11-year-old kid.
Damn. So
They had got upset at their mom because they had taken away their electronic devices because they were being bad. So apparently the boy said, let's go. We're going to California. Of all places, we're going to drive from Florida to California. And this was all said as they were being interviewed. And thankfully, the mother declined to press charges and the children were released. Could you imagine that conversation if the mom pressed charges on her 10 and 11-year-old for stealing the vehicle?
my mom would have.
Oof.
100%. She would have probably pressed charges. You know, you tell her, like, you take away my Xbox, I'm going to take away your Honda Odyssey, bitch. That's what's happening.
And
See you later.
Every Dairy Queen on the way.
That's it. Dude, and that's when, like, was there any like change left in the car? Were they able to score some like McDonald's? Like, how, I don't know. There's their whole philosophy of like they're just gonna make it, you know. Where was their, how are they gonna get gas? Did they steal her credit cards too?
Not mentioned, but I mean they had to think somehow. I wonder if they've even pumped gas. Not that we're trying to give kids like an insight. If you're gonna, don't do this, kids. Just like we gave you a heads up about dare stuff last week. This is, don't steal a vehicle. You're 10, you're 11. Next thing you know, cops are gonna be surrounding your vehicle with guns drawn. Then shit's about to get real. You probably never even pumped gas. You don't even realize how much that costs. I filled my truck the other day. It was $95.
Fuck My little SUV, my little soccer dad car, fucking $64.
That's pretty ridiculous. That's not bad though. That's not bad. But either way, I thought that was a little bit fitting of a story, and yeah, that was.
So we were talking about scams and just being let down. I guess I have a segue here, and it involves food. So Brandon Jay, we were kind of talking about this event that I was going to go to next week. This huge World Series barbecue competition, the American Royal. I think it's in Kansas City, and excuse me. So they sent me this invite, and they're like, "Hey, we're gonna go. It's gonna be at the Kansas Speedway. We're gonna put you in one of the garages for where the cars are at. It's all you can eat, tasting this barbecue. They're gonna have live music. They're like, we're gonna shuttle you from a hotel. This shit's gonna be fantastic." And so then I sign up for it. I'm like, "Hey, did everything good? Like, am I confirmed?" They're like, yeah, you're all set. I'm like, fuck yeah, this isn't too good to be true. I'm gonna taste all this world-class barbecue, get down on some music. They said it was gonna be neon lights too, like a glow party. I'm like, I'm gonna get down. And there's this one bitch that I work with that I absolutely despise. So when my other coworker decided to get signed up and everything, they called him and they're like, "Hey, how'd you get an invitation?" And they're like, "Well, through Brandon." And they're like, "Oh, is this Brandon Wilson guy?" And I was like, "Yeah." Oh, there's my name, by the way. And they go, and I'm like, "Yeah, that's me." And they're like, "Well, we don't know how we invited you." I was like, "Through email, bitch, directly to me. What the fuck? How do you?" I was like, "I even confirmed this." And they're like, "You're not supposed to get it." So not only do I not get to go, but this lady that I work with, they go, "Hey, your contact information was down for her. Do you know this Angela lady?" And I go, "Yeah." And they're like, "It's actually for her." And I was like, "So wait, not only do I not get to go, but my fucking arch nemesis gets to go instead?" I booked hotel rooms. I planned a whole weekend around this goddamn thing. I was excited. And I was like, and now I don't even get to go. And this bitch gets to go. I didn't even tell her because they're like, "Hey, can you pass this information on to her?" I'm like, "Yep. I will make sure it gets there. So unless she watches this podcast, she ain't ever gonna fucking find out. Get to go, she don't get to go." But yeah, so if there was gonna be an update next week, there is none because I don't get to go to that shit. So I'll be watching apparently from my the comfort of my own home. Fucking upset about it.
Bullshit. And you were even going to try to get Brandon J McDermott in there. I heard you say it on the podcast. You're like, "Man, if it's not too far away and he's got a thing, maybe we could do a thing with his new place of employment and he could be at the World Series barbecue." And
it was going to be cool. It was going to be awesome. And I was like, it's food. It's awesome. Like, it's a big whole event, 6 hours, free drinks, free everything. And they told me they had the audacity. They go, "Well, if you still want to participate in this event, you can for $2,200. And I was like, and this guy was the goofiest, geekiest motherfucker I've ever met. I'm a geek. I got Mario shit everywhere. I watch Dragon Ball Z. I'm a geek. This guy was a fucking geek, a dweeb, dude. He's like, "Well, I'm sorry we couldn't make everything work out." And of course, the hotel chain that I work for is Marriott, however you want to say it. And and they go, he's like, "All right, well," he didn't know how to end the call. He's like, "Well, all right, I guess go Marriott." And I go, "I hope you swallow the biggest gun that you have in your house. I hate you." Like, God bless America. I was like, so not only do you take this away from me, you tell me it's going to go to the person I hate the most, and then you tell me go Marriott at the end. Strike three, buddy. I'm going to drive over there and punch you in the mouth. God bless.
So you made me feel better because I had a terrible day yesterday. Something similar, if I can share.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hell yeah.
So I love reaching out to local companies, local food trucks, local restaurants to say, "Hey, let's get together. I'd love to record your video, record you making food, me trying it and posting it on my channels. Don't need a dime from you. Don't need any money from you. I just want to do this." They were very happy and very excited about it. They emailed me or they texted me and they said, "Come on by Saturday at 3:00. It's going to be great. We'll get you it's a food truck," and they do a really good job. I've actually had their food. That's why I wanted to do it. And okay, great. So I'm planning my whole weekend around this. Nebraska football game starts. And listen, for me, Matt, you might not understand, but I haven't missed a Nebraska football game unless I've got work or a wedding, which fuck you if you schedule a wedding during a Nebraska football game, in 25 years. So 2:30, the game starts. I'm catching the first half of the quarter. first half of the first quarter. That's what I was trying to say. And luckily it was Louisiana Tech and not Michigan next week, because I wouldn't have scheduled it during that game.
Right.
I like to see us get our teeth kicked in. But anyway, so I leave and I go up there about 2:55. I get there about 3:00, and I get to the food truck, and it's a little busy. They were thinking it was going to be a little less busy because middle of the Nebraska game, 3:00's their downtime. It wasn't, for whatever reason. Walk up to the window. They slide the window open, and I go, "Hi, I'm Brandon. I was told to be here at 3:00. And the guy immediately goes, I don't know nothing. I don't know nothing. Okay. I say, okay. And I start walking away. And then one of the guys, back to my car and leave. I'm like, all right. One of the guys that was eating there, patron of the restaurant, said, I think he's still talking to you. So I turned back around and walked up to the window. And I go, yeah, I contacted you. You guys contacted me I contacted you on Facebook originally. You replied back. You said, you'd love for me to come down to do a review of your food. Pulled up my Facebook. I was like, is this you? He goes, yeah, but I don't do that. I know nothing. I don't know nothing. I go, okay, thank you. And I turned around and walked away and left. Sent a message. I was fucking pissed. But I sent a message, hey, I showed up to the food truck. People said they didn't know anything about it and acted like they were very surprised I was there. So I just left. They respond back 3 hours later. Very sorry. There was probably a line of communication missed, and we'd love to have you back, whatever. But in the meantime, I'm mad because I was going to bring back tacos for my wife, my kids. I was excited about eating some Mexican food for the Nebraska game. It was going to be great. So then I drive to it was just funny. And I was like, this will be a good place to do a video. A gyro place in a gas station. Dude sells gyros. He has his own gyro restaurant in an offshoot of a gas station, convenience store. And I'm like, this is great. I'm going to go up here. I'm going to record some fucking dude making some gyros, and I'm going to eat some delicious lamb and questionable wherever it comes from meat. Questionable as in what animal, not questionable as in is it meat? So I get up there. I walk into the restaurant because it's in a gas station. This is very long-winded. Because it's in a gas station, there's no door. So you just walk into the gas station. You walk right into the restaurant, see all the tables on the chairs, or all the chairs on the tables. And I walk up to the window. Clearly, all the lights are off and nobody's there. And on the window, it says, Saturday closed 2 to 4. Who the fuck closes 2 to 4 on a Saturday, dude? You close between lunch and dinner. I get that a little bit. But come on, man. So I was pissed.
Damn.
So I went off and I bought a tall boy. It was $4.29 for a tall boy. Holy smokes.
Just repetitively getting kicked in the nuts. Just
so I got
nonstop.
ruined that. And then I went to the grocery store because I was like, fuck this. I'm going to get chili cheese dogs, and I'm gonna just eat a whole pack of them. I don't even give a shit. But I noticed that I got there, and at their deli, they had a special dinner it was a fried chicken dinner with 2 sides for $7. Oh, it caught me in. Oh, sir, sorry, we're out of fried chicken patties. Oh, fuck you. I was so mad, dude. I was so mad. And I went up to the grocery store anyway, because earlier that day I had went shopping because I was going to make shrimp tacos for a video I'm doing today.
Mm-hmm.
And I was going to buy some coleslaw. Fucking forgot coleslaw. So I get home and I'm fucking angry. I'm mad. It ruined my whole day. Luckily Nebraska won, but I was angry. It was a bunch of it was like death by 1,000 cuts. It wasn't nothing huge. It was just a bunch of little dumb shit. It made you angry.
That is I wouldn't even call some of that little dumb shit. I mean, you have appointments, and it's not your fault that somebody clearly runs the Facebook can't tell the person, hey, somebody's coming here at 3, and maybe 2 to 4. I mean, there's a couple of restaurants local here that used to do that as well because they said nobody was there. Then they had to pay their employees that extra time, and then those hours saved them from not having to pay them. Kind of a dirtbag move, you know what I mean? Because now instead of 40 hours, they're probably getting 32 to 36 hours a week. So they don't have to pay them benefits and this and that. But yeah, that's one kick to the nuts right after the other, like Yuban was saying.
The thing that really pissed me off though was the first thing. Like you said, I'm huge on appointments. I'm 15 minutes early usually, and I'm doing this for free. I'm not to be that guy, but I can and have charged a lot of money for this, but I'm doing it for free.
And whether you're a creator or not, everybody's time is money. I mean, you're giving up your time with your kids, your family, your Nebraska football to do this, to genuinely help somebody else. And you're going to get some food out of it.
But you have to plan accordingly. It's especially if you have to drive all the way out there and everything else. And again, the family was like, "Oh shit, we're getting tacos today. This sounds awesome." You hype them up. That's why I refuse to tell anybody anything anymore, because every time I do, it always lets them down. They're like, "Oh, Dad, you said that you were getting tacos." Yeah, because now this is my fault. I'm sorry. God damn.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Or then you have to like rely on like the second choice for tacos, which is never as good as the first choice.
Exactly. And you
Yeah.
always start off too with like, "Oh, hey, we're getting tacos from this new place. Luckily, it ain't this taco place." And then you come back from that taco place, you're like, change of plans, and they're like, "Oh, that place sucks. You even said so." I know, but it's better than nothing, isn't it? Here, it never is.
And you said that you haven't been eating great, and this is going to clean you out, because let's be honest, the not great taco place is going to help with the cleaning of out.
Which I
Yes.
will add that those chili dogs definitely did that for me yesterday.
Oh, but in good news, you probably heard this. Speaking of hot dogs, I think I read somewhere that the Oscar Mayer Frankmobile is no longer. Rest in peace to the Frankmobile. The Oscar Mayer Weinermobile is back. It only lasted 4 months, and they renamed it back to the Weinermobile.
Oh, awesome.
Nice.
I mean, because I remember hearing that, and people were pissed. Like, Kraft, you pissed me off already with your Heinz company leaving Pittsburgh football stadium, which maybe that's not all on you, maybe a little on Pittsburgh, but I haven't bought Heinz ketchup since. And now then you guys go ahead and you changed it from the Weinermobile to the Frankmobile. What the fuck?
Yeah, and I don't know if you guys ever followed the TikTok of the people who ran the Weinermobile, constantly breaking down. So Kraft, you can do so much better with we're giving them a reliable automobile. And a lot of these kids, I mean, they were children, young 20s, broke down in the Rockies in a Weinermobile. Not a good look.
Speaking of doing not a good look, and there was a social media post that said something like, "It's been a franktastic summer, but like you, we missed this bunderful icon. Help us welcome back the Weinermobile." Like, come on, who's doing your social medias? Hit any of the three of us up. We can make so many better wiener jokes and puns.
Absolutely.
I feel like Yuban has been training his whole life to be able to work for a company, go Marriott, but instead you could be like, go wieners.
That's where I was going. I was like, if I was a betting man, I guarantee I know who wrote that damn post. It was that piece of shit that taken back of my fucking beautiful barbecue. God, that guy sucks. Look, he's in Kansas City too. I told him, I was like, you're 40 minutes from me, and I know where you work, and I know your office number now. I'm gonna shit on your desk. It's happening.
That's right. That's funny. I said that I was going to shit at that restaurant that pissed me off a couple of weeks ago or a month ago. I said I'm going to take a shit right in, and then I started. My brain was like, okay, there's one child in that building, then you're on a list because you have some kind of indecent exposure for taking a shit. And it turns out I like coaching. I like being able to go to my kids' sporting events. I am no longer going to take a shit anywhere else besides the upper deck of the toilet. Allegedly.
That's a beautiful place to take one too. Just a gift that keeps on giving.
Mm-hmm. And I think it is one of the toilets with the tank. So, and if it breaks and they need a new toilet, hopefully they'll come to my place of employment and buy one.
Speaking of bathrooms too, I did have to go to a different bar to play darts last Thursday, and I've never seen this bar before. It was very shiny from the outside, and I'm like, and it says, and again, I live out in the middle of nowhere. This bar, whenever it says the town's premier Latin dance club, and there's not a lot of Latins in the area, I'm just like,
Or dance clubs, probably, right?
or dance clubs, yeah. Usually not a lot of neon either, and I'm just like, huh, okay, where are we playing out of today? You know,
Can I pause just for 1 minute? I want to ask you. You've been mentioning neon a lot. Is there something going like?
No,
That's
I mean,
like
I guess there was a lot of because I mean, at that barbecue place, I'll show you the invitation. That was the highlight. It was big and bold. It caught my my tism exponentially. But it's I was sitting outside of this bar, and I see this older gentleman, and he's struggling with his fog machine. It's just rolling through the parking lot. It looks kind of cool as shit. I'm just like, what the fuck is this? So I'm hitting my pen, blowing it out the window, adding to the the smoke and everything. I'm like, okay, this is kind of cool. And this guy's struggling to hold this little small fog machine. And I'm like, God, he is really struggling. And I look out in my side mirror because he goes behind my car to dump out like the juice or whatever. And I look and his whole ass is out. I mean, the pants are below, like behind the knees, essentially at this point. And I'm like, oh my God. And he's bending over further and further. And I practically see his asshole. And I'm trying to get like a picture but like the other guy who runs the bar is holding the door open because the cord is still attached. And I'm like, why are you dumping it? It's still plugged in. I had so many questions. I was like, what the fuck is going on? And he so look, and he goes back to dump it again. And I'm like, oh, so I'm like trying to get my phone again. And the guy kind of sees me, and I'm like, I don't know if I was just paranoid because I was hitting that pin or what, but I tried sneaking a pic, couldn't. I walk in, and there's just laser lights, neon laser lights just going everywhere. Smoke machine, dance floor. Nobody's on the nobody's on this dance floor. I was the second car in the parking lot, so I kind of figured, but I was just like, the fuck is going on? Big
What
old
song was playing? Do you remember when you walked in?
So there was no music playing, which was really weird because it was so quiet. Like you can hear literally just the one TV playing that was on at this moment. I'm like,
Huh.
fuck. And there's a pool table. I'm like, okay, I see the dartboards. I'm like, all right. And then in between the pool table and the dartboard, there's this little room, and it has a stripper pole. I go, that's different. And then there's like a little lounge separated, and I go, that kind of a Latin dance club. All right. And there is this beautiful, to what I believe, a female at birth, Latino woman, I hope, because like her brother, very, very flamboyant. And I was like, I'm still not sold. This isn't a club. I'm like, I don't know what's going on. But his sister was thick. I was in love, and she was a hell of a dart player too. She was doing all right. And I was like, a woman after my own heart. And she's like, you thirsty? And I was like, I am. And she's like, what do you want to drink? And I was like, no, a Sprite, please. Can I have a Sprite? But we whipped that ass 16-0. And then that guy dropped his darts, and I kept telling everybody, I was like, his pants are not all the way up. If he drops a dart, we're going to see his asshole. Like, it's going to happen. His darts kept sticking until the second to the last game. 2 of them dropped. And I was like, and I look, and everyone, I'm like, everybody, watch. I'm like trying not to make a scene, but we're all looking.
Do you have your phone ready?
Oh, no. So it was too small of a building to where they would have seen us, obviously put our phones out. It was bad enough that we're all like, pick up them darts. What are you going to do with them darts? You going to pick them up? He does. And all you see is ass. And they're like, oh, God. And at this point, we're 14 games in. It's a hot, foggy dance area. His butt was glistening a little bit. And I think he did it on purpose. I'm still not sold that he didn't because, again, those darts were sticking. He wanted to give us a show before the end of the night. But yeah, so that was my dart night. It was a hell of a night. But I threw in I'm ranked number 4 in town.
Ayo. So you were at the premier Latin dance club with no music, but lots of lasers.
So there wasn't music when we first got there. And then since we're from the small town that's not associated with the majority of the bars in this other town, they pegged us as, excuse me, I'm sorry.
Wait, what?
They assumed that we were little country bumpkins, and they played nothing but country music for at least an hour. And I know, no offense to country music, but it's usually terrible. And I was like, hey, I looked at them, I was like, just because we're all like white bearded dudes, we like other music. Like you can play something else. And they go, oh, thank God. So they started playing rap, rock, everything. There was some music that didn't have a single English word in the entire song, which I still enjoyed better than the country songs even. So I was like, all right.
So they played Pitbull?
There was Pitbull once. There was Mr. Worldwide made an appearance, unfortunately.
There it is. Knew it.
All I heard was you went to a club and they pegged you in your country bumpkin.
Yep.
And you know what? I would go again. I was satisfied. I would give that a 5 at Yelp for that place. It was good.
There we go. Shout out the premier Latin club. You painted a very good picture because one time I was in Ottawa, not Ottawa, Brockville, which is right across from me, pretty much in the border. And there's a couple just different bars, restaurants, everything, some great Chinese food. We were over there just having a couple of beers, and you're walking in a city and you see the buildings, but you don't see the signs. You know what I mean? Just like that song, I Saw the Sign. It opened up my eyes, but you don't. So we just like, it just says bar. You see the bar signs, with the beers and stuff. So we just walk in. We're hanging out and, not really paying a lot of attention. We sit down, good looking bartender, female at birth, we think. So we're just having there. And in Canada, you could go over there, get a bucket of beers for like $3 American. I mean, the conversion rate at this time is ridiculous. Still pretty good right now. So we go over there, we order some beers, and next thing you know, all dudes in there, but we're not really paying attention where we live. There's just all dudes in most of the bars anyways, you know? And then the guys started getting more and more friendly, go and take a leak. And above the urinals are pictures of very naked men. And that's when it first hit me. We were in a place called the Rainbow Room. And I tell you what, it was one of the most fun bars that we had there. We had a blast. We were just hanging out. There was just like, you know what I mean? Sometimes you go to Canada, you go to these
Everybody
places.
was so nice.
They were very nice. They were buying us drinks. At first, we didn't know why they were buying us drinks, and then we realized why they were buying us drinks. But sometimes, you know, as an American, you go to these places in Canada, and then you get these tough guys, you know, that all probably still were wearing Letterman jackets and class rings and played a lot of hockey, and they were talking all about, and they found out you were from America. You were talking to the wrong person. All they wanted to do was fight. These guys, they didn't want to fight. They were just there for the pegging.
Lucky devils. Well, even the guy who was the obviously flamboyant one at the bar, whenever he would pull the darts out of the board, he struggled and he kind of put the foot up, kind of a thing. We're like, oh boy, you know. And so I was always next to him, and it's customary too, whenever whoever threw previously, whoever's next up, you fist bump, like, hey, that was a good throw, type of thing. Gets repetitive, kind of annoying, but once you've been doing it for a while, you just, as soon as someone's done, you automatically have your hand up just to fist bump them. So he was unaware of that. So he came over and he was just kind of like avoiding eye contact. I'm like, hey, and he's, ah! And I was like, no. Good game. Like, good job. You know, so
This was the guy with the ass crack?
No, this was the young flamboyant one. So he, not that I was looking, but he did have some very skin tight denim jeans on that looked like they were painted. Again, the little kick at the end of trying to grab the darts. Still would rather look at that than the guy's butthole. But
maybe, I mean, you are 6'2". Maybe the fist was a little intimidating for said person.
So towards the end, they were very complimenting. Like I said, great. That was a great bar. I had a great time. But they kept saying, or he kept winking every time that, like, I was like, hey, I'd say, good game. He said, and I was like, boy, you better quit playing. I'll get a free beer. What are you doing?
The blink move is a weird thing when anybody does that. You know, just in general, like somebody did that not too long ago, just randomly, not flamboyant by any means, but it's just a weird move, isn't it? Where you're just like, hey.
Yeah, especially there was no point. Like if it was like completely obnoxious, I'd probably be more accepting, but it was a subtle. And I'm like,
yeah,
well, you better quit playing. I'm gonna go kill this cricket real quick.
Okay, good luck. So last week, Brandon, this is a little bit food related as well. Yuban and myself stumbled upon the most random YouTube video on the planet. We're not going to play it again, but and I probably should have asked him before he muted, but he can just nod his head. How many times did you bust out the milk lemonade chocolate this week?
We were staining the deck last week, which I thought was only going to take 2 or 3 hours, but ended up taking like 9 or 10. And I probably said it at least 3 dozen times. I was sitting there singing, like, especially when I was covered in some of the stain, I was like, milk, chocolate, lemonade, or milk, lemonade, chocolate, whatever it was. And my wife was like, I will push you off this fucking deck if you do not shut the fuck up.
I feel like we need to at least show Brandon. You probably didn't get a chance to watch last week's yet, right? So this will be new to you. Okay, let's do the thing. I'm not going to take $54 off Better TV just for your sorry YouTube TV. All right, here we go.
Milk, lemonade, chocolate, milk, lemonade, chocolate, milk, lemonade, chocolate, milk, lemonade, chocolate,
And it's a whole video of different skits of them just busting out milk, lemonade, chocolate.
Was your Sprite on fire there? Oh, okay. That was a silly video, and I might actually have to go up to my wife and do that later. Yes.
I can't stop doing it. I obviously am not doing it to any of the kids, but same to the wife. It's just I'll be sitting there, and now it's to the point where I can just go, and it's just she's just like.
I'm thinking that there's certain she'll hate it because I'll do it in front of the kids, of course, and then they'll be repeating it.
Yeah.
But, so it reminds me of, is there a word or a phrase that your wife hated that she said you do not say that in front of the kids, cuss word or otherwise?
Nothing
Because
comes to mind.
mine is bussin'. My wife says if you teach our daughter bussin', I'm gonna be bussing you.
Ooh, another fist.
Yes,
Wow,
but
that's
it's usually better if it comes this way.
Ooh, it's Italian.
Yes, she is.
There's nothing that comes to mind for me for a phrase that's just like don't teach them that.
Yeah.
Or a dance, or a line from a movie, or a YouTube video.
There's quite a bit, but I usually end up saying it anyways. And then I usually kind of get the whole Brandon, stop. I'm just like, oh yeah, there's children present. But my daughter's 12, so half of these new lingo words and everything, I feel old, but I learned from her half the time. She got really upset with me one time because are you guys familiar with the yeah? You guys know what that is? Yeah. So it's anyways, if you see a lady and she's thick, and then she's selling a bowl of cereal, you're like, look at that goddamn bowl of cereal, you know what I mean? Just it's so my wife was bending over one time in the kitchen and she's like, you ready to make some waffles? I'm like, look at you making those goddamn waffles. And my daughter was immediately just like, stop, no, I know what that is. And I'm like, Dad's like 4 months behind of this stuff, but I'm catching up. I'm getting there. I'm gonna ruin every word that you love.
I like that. And then when you said bussin', I had no idea what bussin' was until, again, at the time, the 13-year-old said something about, yeah, that thing was bussin'. And then, of course, at the time, the 6-year-old was like, this meal's bussin'. And I'm just like, what the hell is bussin'? Well, it's like, it's good. It's like really good. So I just say, why don't you just say good or really good? Well, it's bussin'. I'm like, fuck.
I had a follower. I would never suggest doing this, but I have a really good friend follower who came and stayed at my house. I got to know him for about 18 months, and it was him and his wife and his kid, so it wasn't just like him or anything. But they did a trip across the country and stayed at her house so they could save a couple $100 for 2 nights of stay. And kids are cute as hell, like little 4-year-old Appalachian kids, like in the mountains kids. Brandon, is it bussin'? It's bussin', straight to jail. It was like the cutest little shit you ever saw.
How many times you say roll tide?
Right. Well, they're from, I think, the Virginia area, so it's a little different. But yes, the Appalachian Mountains are pretty long, if they like to say.
Yeah. Bussin'. What a dumb thing.
The more I mute in between things and yell at this cricket, the louder it gets.
Have you solved the spider issue?
No. Honestly, so I did bring this broom around so I can try to kill some of these spiders if they come within my presence. And I was hoping I could reach this cricket, grasshopper, whatever it is, making this loud, obnoxious noise.
We're in a basement, so I understand the damp, dark area with lots of bugs. My daughter, I'm sitting in my recliner out there, and my daughter goes, "Daddy, it's an ant! It's an ant!" And I'm like, "What the fuck are you saying?" And I realize she's saying ant, so I look down and, oh no, honey, that's not an ant, that's a spider. And I get down really close to it, and I'm like, "Oh, see what this is here? It's kind of sad." It's not a black widow or anything, but it's a little black spider. Put it in a little cup. I don't have a cup next to me. Take it outside and I just chuck it outside. You don't gotta kill them, man. They're not gonna hurt you. They're usually more afraid of you than.
Yeah, I try to go the sympathetic approach with these creatures. Once they invade my space, it's game over.
The thing about spiders is and I wasn't going to get into this in the last episode that we had this conversation, and it's a different show, of course. But the thing with spiders is they take care of all the other shitty bugs that you don't want: stink bugs, water bugs, dirt bugs,
crabs.
Yes, those two. Centipedes, house centipedes, and things like that. So you don't got to worry about those scary fucking things coming around.
If it's a smaller spider, I'll let it live. I'll let it keep its peace.
They say it's the small ones you got to worry about. Those are the ones that are the scary ones. Depending, of course, like black widows and brown recluses aren't the biggest.
They typically aren't. We do get a lot of those as well. Not black widows. I don't see a lot of those, but the brown recluse, that is. I mean,
those will fuck you up.
Yeah. I mean, it wasn't very uncommon during high school years that there was always one kid every other month oh, I got bit by a spider. I'm like, God damn, like spray your fucking house, my God. Good God. It's moved over here in this corner, and it's just like, hey, bitch, what up? You ain't gonna do shit. Just screaming at me, and I'm very upset with this cricket.
That is hilarious. It does make an appearance. That's why the spiders are in there. The spiders are trying to get that cricket. You're gonna have a full on, I don't know the word, between insect war. It's gonna make for
So
good.
you mentioned that, and this is always something, and I don't. It's because I'm an addict. Okay, is what it probably it is. Whenever I'm mowing or whenever I am out there enjoying my devil's lettuce, if I see like a dragonfly, for some reason they always go right. They're always just slightly above my head, and I'm like, that's the aerial assault of like this whole bug community. They all work together whenever I'm out walking in the yard, disturbing their peace. So like I will get super stony baloney and like tiptoe and make sure that I'm not like stepping on like ants or anything like that. Whenever I'm mowing, it's always they always circle around me. They're like, "Oh, here he comes! They're cutting our houses down and everything." And I'm just like, "Does anybody else ever think of stuff like that, or am I just one step away from going to the mental hospital?"
I feel like we need to take these ideas and let's put them into a children's book.
It seems like so. Did you ever watch or read Mrs. Frisbee and the Rats of Nim?
No.
It sounds familiar. Yes.
It was from the point of view of mice and how they perceived adults or humans and stuff, and just it's kind of like Fievel Goes West, but more serious.
Huh. No, I know. What was it? Mrs.
Frisbee? What did I say? The Rats of Nim? Mrs.
Oh.
Frisbee and the Rats of Nim. I think there was 3 books. Now I'm hoping I'm not getting this information correctly. I want to say during the last book, the gentleman that was writing it died. So the child or grandchild actually finished the last book for them of some sorts. I want to say it was a long
Mrs.
time ago.
Frisbee was a recently widowed mouse, lives with her 4 children in a cinder block in a field belonging to a farmer named Mr. Fitzgibbon.
I remember that.
Her son Timothy falls ill with pneumonia just as the farmer begins planning for spring plowing, which will destroy their home. I mean, if you were super into this, I guess I could see why that happened. But
I mean, I read that probably whenever I was like, I think it was read to me. Excuse me. It was like a librarian that read it to us in like maybe first grade, maybe kindergarten. But so yeah, I always think about just these tiny bugs riding dragonflies like it's fucking Avatar, and I'm out there just getting little tiny spears thrown at me, and I just don't know because 1, I'm a god, and 2, I'm Gigantor.
It was runner-up of the National Book Award in 1972.
So it's an old book. Yeah, it's old.
Interesting. Did you know that in July 2009, Paramount Pictures wrote a script, apparently, to write a film based on this book? But nothing has materialized since. And then in March 2015, MGM, which had released the 1982 film, acquired the rights to the book to adapt it into a live-action animated film. So
now, you see live action. Now I can only think about is like the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, like the old like 90s ones. It's just like the rats are all going to look like Master Splinter.
Oh, they did put out a movie in 1982.
The cartoon, correct?
Yeah, animated film, The Secret of whatever.
The Secret of Nim. Is it? So it was like NIMH, I think is what it was. Right? Yeah.
I'm not good at pronouncing things around you two, so I'm just refraining from it. So
I wouldn't have known unless, again, librarian. She was probably pronouncing it wrong the entire time, so I just go by what she said.
Just like me in Oregon. That's how we were told. I even brought it up last night at the bonfire with my brother and them. I said, hey, the state that's below Washington. They're like, do you think I look at a map? The game that came out, there's something trail. And they're all like, Oregon? I'm like, see, apparently it's Oregon. We're watching Oregon destroy Colorado. And they just kept going, Oregon, Oregon, Oregon.
I had my favorite tweet of all time.
I
said, it looks like Oregon's going to score again.
That's a good one.
And then somebody tweeted back, yeah, they're beating FlorDUH. I was like, that's not as good as mine, but thank you.
No, not
if anything, it made yours even better, though. So he'll take an assist.
Oh, yeah. Yep. And I loved it. I took the 21-point spread. I knew it was going to be a disaster. So, hell yeah.
That was That was painful to watch.
Go Ducks. Roll Tide, baby. You mentioned this is an even more of a reach, but you did mention that your beloved Nebraska plays Michigan next week.
Yeah.
Michigan, pretty good football team, but sometimes people in Michigan do some really dumb stuff. And I'm going to read this headline to you. Woman rescued from outhouse toilet after climbing in to retrieve. And I want you to. It sounds like Brandon McDermott has seen or heard this article.
I did this on my radio show last week. I won't say anything.
Okay, so Yuban's guess was a phone. Pretty close. It was an Apple Watch.
Damn. I was gonna say, I hope it wasn't a jewel pod or a jewel or something like that.
That is some dedication to tech for sure. And she fell in.
She was in there, and first responders were called because the woman was heard yelling for help, and the toilet was removed, and a strap was used to haul the woman out.
So we went to Yellowstone probably in the early 2000s with my grandparents, and it was back when they had the old Nokia brick phones. My grandfather used to put it on his hip, a little holster, and he went to go use a porta-john one time, and he got back out, and we were getting ready to leave, and he's like, oh, we had a picnic and everything, it was a good stopping point, and he's like, oh, my phone, and he's like, I think it fell into the porta-john. He's like, oh no. So my mom was like, oh God, let me go look. And so she's like peeking and like looking. She's not in there, obviously, but she's like, oh God. And it's brutal because not only, again, is it a porta potty, but my grandfather also took extremely disgusting shits. So this thing was nasty. Only for him to find it underneath the seat of the shotgun or of the driver's seat of the car. After
Did you say under the shotgun?
Sorry, shotgun seat was what I was going to say, but no, it was the driver's seat. But it was underneath there, and she was like, "You didn't look there first?" And he goes, "Thought I did."
Here's my question: you get saved, you get pulled out of this porta-john. You are covered. I mean, you were drenched. You were soaked into it like it was a fucking bucket of chocolate pudding, and you're in there.
Milk, lemonade,
How?
chocolate.
Where do you find the hose to hose you off? And how do you get transported? Are you jumping in your car right away? Because it's going to ruin your vehicle. You have to take all of your clothes off and throw them away.
Know what I'm doing? I'm getting transported by a volunteer rescue squad. So then you can make a donation to them. You're not getting charged. They're bringing me right to the goddamn hospital because I'm going to say I have every sickness in the book. So that way you go there, they got to clean you up. You might even get a nurse that's going to have to give you a bath, a shower. I'm letting the hospital deal with all that shit. Pun intended. I'm not getting in that vehicle. I am sick and I'm going to the hospital.
Because even worst case scenario, you get back home and you're washing people's shit off of you. You're going to have to wash your shower after you wash yourself in the shower.
Mm-hmm. Not only the thing too, but isn't there the blue dye in the bottom of there as well? So not only are you going to be like just completely blue, looking like the Blue Man Group, but just covered in shit as well. Like that is.
Well, this was an outhouse. This is what it looks like. I'm gonna show you guys here.
Sorry, yeah.
So I don't know what's in the bottom of this. It looks like it's at a rest stop. So I don't know if it's got the blue stuff. I mean, eventually they have to have a way to come in and pump this out. So I don't know if it's self-contained.
You would assume it would probably be one of those.
You know what's funny is I get in there and porta-john, not one of those, but your porta potty. I am making sure my phone is in the pocket that is not facing that fucking thing, and all my wallet and everything else. And I'm pissing. God, if I have to shit and there's a porta-john, it's been a bad day. Okay, but I never piss into that hole. I always piss into the offside shoot thing. I don't care about the splatter back at that point, but I'm not hovering over anything and having something fall into that fucking hole. Ain't not gonna happen.
And that cop that was standing there in the doorway, he is clearly on his phone near there. Like that's a ballsy move. He's got his phone out, probably taking pictures, reading text, being like, yeah, that bitch really fell in.
I wonder if he's taking pictures of her.
Oh,
you got to see this. Please stop taking pictures of me and just help me.
All you see is arms just sticking out. Like, can you please just get me the fuck out of here?
And I have to imagine that, she's not a very large woman because she fit into a toilet. You know what I mean? And they were able to just get with the strap or what. Imagine having to be these rescue people that have to get this woman covered in milk, lemonade, chocolate out of this goddamn outhouse.
You know, I would think after think about it, Matt, you probably have to go to the hospital.
I think you do.
Yeah.
You know, I
You get
mean,
any of that in your nose, ears, eyes, you're getting double pink eye. I'm throwing up. I'm throwing up on myself. I
yeah.
mean, you're in there. And I mean, you're in there for 5 minutes, let alone, I don't know how long they were in there. I am fucking sick because I had one of those bad days. I had a bubble gut. Fuck you, zebra cakes. I know I love you, zebra cakes, but anytime I eat one of those, I get the bubble guts. And I had to take a shit in a porta potty the other day, and it was like 3/4 full. And you look down, and kids are just throwing water bottles and fucking chew cans, and it was not a good experience. And while I'm taking a shit, this is at a live sport event. There's kids playing basketball. There's a line starting to wait of some people that had to go. It was warm for up here, like 70s. It was not it was either shit my pants or shit in this porta potty. And I honestly couldn't wait.
I'm not a normal human. I usually have softer stools. I mean, I eat chili dogs on the norm.
Hell yeah.
Usually wiping is like spreading peanut butter on a cat's back for me.
Yeah.
So I'm not a okay. You guys ever had a industrial toilet that's really super strong?
Yeah.
My shits are 2 or 3 flushes. Yeah.
Wow.
So
Instant
I'm just saying,
stains.
like
Stain every shit.
yeah.
Yeah.
I know you're not going to probably love this, but you need a bidet. And in my butt is so used to a fucking bidet. If I have to poop anywhere else, it is a nightmare. And then you're using this cheap toilet paper, and I mean you're wipe. And the people out there are probably going, Jesus Christ, what is that guy doing in there? But I have to imagine. I mean, you're already kind of like that. You're like that. Statistically, I bet you could we say 8 out of 10 guys have to wipe and wipe and wipe and wipe? I mean, how many? I mean, where I'm from, there's not a lot of healthy people. And from what I understand, I went to school with some runners, super healthy people, and they took some nasty dumps as well. All that fiber, all that vegetables, and whatever else healthy people eat. I don't know.
I remember my wife going, Brandon, you just need Metamucil in your life. Give me some more chili and cheese. You know what's funny is the next purchase I'm making. We just paid Culligan to put in a reverse osmosis system and a water softener, and just paid for a new furnace and a new AC and a washer and a dryer and a dishwasher and all this bullshit I've had to pay for. Once those get taken care of, the next thing I'm getting is 2 bidets, one upstairs and one downstairs. No, 2 toilets with bidets.
Oh, so you can get the ones I use. They're like $30, dude. They go under the toilet seat. Seriously, and then they just hook to the water line supply. They work fantastic.
I want to go all out. I watched that goddamn South Park episode, and I want a seat warmer. I want warm water. I want the full I want an air dryer that's going to blow it dry. I want the full
Bluetooth.
I just Googled travel bidets. I might buy one. They're $9.98 on Amazon right now, 33% off. You can bring a bidet with you, and you just keep it with you in case you have to. It kind of looks like an enema or something. I never really used one of those, but I take it back. Now that I'm looking, I'm not sure. Would you guys bring one of these? And every time you have to shit in public, you bring this bag?
Holy shit! Yeah, that's looks like a douche, bro.
That's a douche, yeah.
Take clean wherever you go. Mantenga la limpieza donde vaya.
Hey, do you got a douche in your bag?
No, it's not a douche. It's a travel bidet. You wouldn't understand.
Just fill it with cool or warm water and screw it on. Holds 400 milliliters. Place finger over the air lock on the bottom of the go spot to prevent leaking and turn over. Point nozzle in the appropriate area. Remove finger from airlock. Squeeze. Go spot for cleansing. Bidet wash.
I gotta say, before we went full screen here, you looked at your phone and you had the look on your face like you found out your quarterback isn't going to be able to start today because he just got ruled out. Is everything all right?
No, it's even worse. I bought some Royals tickets for their last game October 1st. So, or a week, I guess next Sunday. And apparently Beyonce is singing at Arrowhead, which the 2 stadiums are right next to each other. So I was thinking it was going to be like easy get in parking and stuff like that. No. So now I'm pissed because now I have to avoid the Beyonce, the bees.
The good news is there's going to be nobody at that baseball game. Nobody.
That's what I'm hoping, and I'm hoping we can kind of like scoot down and everything else since it is the last game and it's the Royals. But unfortunately, they're
But
playing
it's
the
the Yankees. Yeah.
What
So-
time does the game start? What time does the concert start?
So this is where I'm hoping. So with the new rules, it's like the games are getting over within like 2.5 hours, right?
Mhm.
Okay, it might be safe because I believe the concert starts at 7 and the game starts at 2.
Oh, you'll be fine.
Oh yeah.
So, but it's a
You may
shared
catch
parking
some of
lot.
you may catch some of the pre-traffic, but
Okay, all right. I'm hoping.
Yeah.
God,
Yeah. The
watch it run the
average is
extra innings.
2.5 hours.
Yeah,
You'll be fine.
you'll be
Okay.
out of
3
there
hours
by
max.
4:30 in that game. People aren't going to even be showing up till about probably 5:30, so you should be fine.
Sweet. Okay, they had Guns N' Roses here last night, and it stormed like crazy. It probably did where you were at as well. You probably had some hellacious storms, but it was. I heard it was an uneventful event. It was terrible. So
No, we didn't have that many of storms, but Lincoln saw a very tiny. I mean, you saw a map, you wouldn't even see anything. You zoom in, you see this tiny little storm come across, and one lightning strike. So they stopped the game for an hour.
typical.
It was dumb. I mean, they have to, of course. I get it, but silly.
I had to drive like 2 hours away for a softball game, and there was like no rain in the forecast whatsoever where we were at, obviously. But then once we started getting closer and closer to this town, sky was getting gray and everything. And I go, I swear to God, if this shit gets canceled after driving 2 hours, we're playing baseball somewhere. I mean, I was like, hey, get your gloves out. I'll be up. I'll put on a blue shirt. You guys can yell at me for an hour and a half. Fuck it, we're doing something. But
It'll be perfect when we see you going viral on social media when you take a foul ball to the balls and you forgot your cup.
did
You don't need to use
see
it
that?
anymore.
Did you see that video of the guy swinging, just completely whiffing a pitch and just getting hit directly in the? I'll have to send you the video. It was. I
Oh.
saw it this morning. That's why I thought you were referencing. I was like, oh my, but I have no idea.
No, I think I haven't been on social media. I try to take Sundays off from as much social media as possible and really focus on football. And today, the better half and the kids want to go to an apple orchard. And football starts in about 3 hours, and there's no way in hell we're going to make it back for kickoff. Thankfully, my beloved, terrible football team plays Sunday night, so I won't miss that. But I am going to put in some bets, check the fantasy lineups, and make sure we're ready to go, and probably stream some games on my phone while they're, they do this thing where obviously you can pick apples. We don't need it. We have apple trees. We have fucking so many apples. Nobody's made me an apple pie in this house yet. But they do this thing where you can get this bag of like rocks or fossils or whatever, but it's mixed in. And then they have like a mining thing. So you actually put them in trays, go water, sift through them. They love doing that shit. And then they have a corn maze. I saw the aerial view of it, so I know exactly how to get out of that fucking thing. So I did my homework. So I'm going to be like, done. And they're going to be like, well, that was fun. Thanks. But
just hold
either way,
hands, just pulling them the entire way. Like, hold hands, let's go. Why is he pulling us so fast, Mom? Just listen to him. Just listen to him.
Well, it's one of those things, you don't want to go there and ruin the day and have everybody mad at you. But it's like, I want to go back and watch some football. And it was like, well, I'll just bring them. I can go by myself. And it's like,
That's a trap. That's a trap. Yeah, I know how that is.
Trap.
Yeah.
So, but either way, I love that Brandon has had to put the hat on crooked to block the sun. He's not doing that for stylish looks. I've been noticing the sun creeping in, and we're at our time. So I can't thank you guys enough. If anybody's still listening, thank you as well. Shout out to the Patreon members, Kush Kelly, Jim, and our buddy Logan. If anybody wants to subscribe, you get some producer Jace clips that are only on Patreon. And if I forget the magic number, then Yuban is going to start putting some feet pics on there, I think, and some weird stuff will happen. We talked about it last week. I don't remember because I don't think it's going to happen. But either way, appreciate everybody. Check out the Patreon. Check out these guys, Brandon J McDermott, Yuban Whakinov, on all the socials if you want. I'm not the boss of you, and don't go follow my shit. My shit's boring. I don't really do anything on there. But all right, that's all I got. You guys got anything else?
I don't. Looking forward to next week.
Hell yeah,
Absolutely.
appreciate you guys, and that's all we got. Smell you later. Okay, bye.